So this is my first official video under the new name, Live Quietly. And I'm very excited to share it with you. And by excited, I mean nearly vomiting, shaking in my virtual boots, and considering running away to a foreign country to begin a new life. But whatever, it's just the internet, a totally cool place to share new ideas. Hey friends, welcome back. I'm so happy you're here. Today we're doing a fun little craft and chatting about the very deep topic that is our identity. So grab your rhinestones and some construction paper, because today we're making ourselves princess crowns. As I begin this new chapter with my channel, I want to start off strong. And to do that, we have to go back to the beginning. So let me begin with a question. What comes to mind when you think of your own identity? For me, it's things like artist, creative, pain in the neck. But to be honest, I tend to struggle with what to call myself. And for too long, I realized I've put my identity in so many things over the years and ended up gauging my worth on whether or not those things were successful or not. And every time something went wrong, it would completely shatter my view of myself and my worth. I would inevitably end up thinking I must just not be good enough. Then I would slowly work up the courage to try again, putting all of my weight on one thing, and again, when it didn't go as planned, it would have me questioning everything all over again. Living with this mindset is exhausting, and it trains you to think that you need to do more, try harder, override the system, just push through it, and you'll finally make it. But I have found that for myself at least, that only digs you deeper into the problem. And what's really behind this struggle is taking place at the root, the place where everything else springs from. So if this sounds familiar to you, then you're in the right place. Because I am still very much a work in progress, and I am learning where to find my worth. I think we as humans like the idea that we can curate our identity, that we can make people see us a certain way. If we say all the right things and do all the right things, we can cover up all the bits of ourselves that we think are less appealing, or even hide the times when we are less than successful. But the fact is, we can say all the right things, surround ourselves with everything we've ever wanted, but at the end of the day, you know deep down inside something is still lacking. And it's not until you realize that all you're striving for, this perfect identity, is kind of, well, to put it bluntly, pointless. I know that's a cheerful thought. But it's at this point that making a change to that mindset becomes possible. We have to realize that our identity isn't in what we do, but it's in who we are. Whoa, we're getting deep. Hot takes with hot glue, anyone? What I'm getting at is we need to put our identity in something that lasts longer than a temporary feeling of accomplishment or excitement or even failure. And that's where we come to a crossroad. Or should I say, a cross in the road. The good thing about hitting rock bottom is you start seeing things a lot more clearly. Priorities have a way of putting themselves back in order. And usually it's at this point where we have a couple of options. We can either get back up, try harder, do more, keep striving to reach our ideal self in our own strength, and more than likely end up exhausting ourselves again. Or your second option is to grab the hand that's extended to you when you know you need it. And while it's difficult to let go of the control over your life that you think you have, admitting that you can't do it alone is a very freeing decision. And of course, what I'm referring to is letting Jesus take the lead. No matter how long your walk with Jesus has been, it is possible that you have never given him full control over your life. Or sometimes we like to give it and then take it back when things aren't happening the way we want. Sometimes we think we know best and we can put Jesus in the back seat because we know a shortcut that will get us there much faster. So let's say you go for the second option. You're ready to ask for help, and now you want to know what the Bible has to say about you and your identity. Well, the way God looks at us throughout the Bible is actually pretty simple. First of all, he sees us as children. In John 1:12 it says, "But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name." In 1 John 3:1 it says, "See what great love the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called children of God. And that is what we are. The reason the world does not see us is that it did not see him." So clearly we are seen as children in God's eyes, which is a big relief to me. Because I don't know about you, but I sure am glad I'm not expected to actually know what I'm doing 24/7. I'm taking that title and running with it. And secondly, Jesus sees you as an heir to the throne of God. I think a lot of people forget that the Bible says if we are children of God, then we're also co-heirs with Jesus Christ. And hello, that's like a huge upgrade. So I'm not exaggerating when I say Jesus says you're a princess. There's actually evidence in the Bible for it. Romans 8:17 says, "Now if we are children, then we are heirs, heirs of God, and co-heirs with Christ, if indeed we share in his sufferings, in order that we may also share in his glory." Well, we've got the suffering part down, I know that. We just need to remember we wear a crown from God that no one can take from us, and we will eventually share in his glory someday. That's a big comfort when we're feeling worthless because we haven't accomplished everything we think we should have by now. We can remind ourselves that our glory is still to come. Because you, my friend, are royalty, and those pesky little thoughts bouncing around in your head all the time have nothing on the God of the universe and what he says about you. But remember, be gentle with yourself. Your brain is just doing what you've trained it to do for years, and that is point out everything that you've been doing wrong with your life. It's a lot of fun for your brain. So at first, it isn't going to understand why suddenly you're telling it that it's doing the wrong thing. But if you stay consistent in correcting it little by little over time, your brain will break out of that thought pattern and form the new habit of reminding yourself that you are a child of God. You are an heir to the throne with Jesus Christ. You are a princess. And all else is secondary to those facts. So, now that we're royalty, shouldn't we have a crown? I know I want one. James 1:12 says, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him." So it looks like we're promised something called the crown of life. Now that has a nice ring to it. But what significance does a crown actually carry? Just for fun, let's look at some other meanings for the word crown. In architecture, crown is used to describe the finishing of a beautiful piece of work. In construction, a crown post is a post that stands between two rafters. In botany, crown refers to the appendage at the top of a sprout that keeps it strong in the wind. In marine language, crown is an interweaving of strands on a knot. On a boat, crown is the top part of an anchor that holds a ship steady against currents. The term crown is also the tippy top of your head, which is kind of important to the rest of the body. Way back when, the Romans and the Greeks used crowns as a sign of victory, crowning Olympians with leaves of wild olives, laurels, pines, and even parsley in some places. The Romans would bestow a crown of oak to those awarded for saving a life. The Persians wore a crown as a sign of honor, power, and celebration. I feel like I'm starting to see a picture here. The word crown is used in the Bible nearly 100 times, and it also mentions a type of crown that is not made by man's hands, but instead talks of a crown that will never fade. This crown spoken of in the Bible is often described with the word amaranth, which is a flower that never fades, symbolizing eternity and immortality. Pretty cool, right? And let's not forget, Jesus was crowned with thorns as he was being crucified. The crown Jesus himself wore was meant to mock and torment, but it actually signifies the finishing of a beautiful work through a sacrifice that would become our crown of life. our reward for a life saved, the anchor that stabilizes us, the knot that ties us together, the bridging of the gap between man and God, and the ultimate completion and victory over death. All these descriptions coming from the meaning of one word: crown. Let this be your reminder that your identity in Christ is superior to any success or any failure you might experience in this world. So wear that crown proudly and never take it off, because you are royalty in God's eyes, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I'll leave you with one last verse. Revelation 3:11. Behold, I am coming quickly. Hold fast what you have, that no one may take your crown. Thank you so much for joining me in my crafty little corner of the world. That was a bit of a dramatic first episode, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't have a flair for the dramatic. I hope you enjoyed your time here as much as I enjoyed having you. Leave a comment down below and let me know if any of this resonated with you. Like and sub and all that good stuff, and come back next time so we can do it again. I'll be uploading every other Friday because I'm an absolute turtle when it comes to getting my thoughts out of my head and into these videos. But alas, we persist. I'll be back with more crafty content and other odd thoughts, and in the meantime, you can work on your crown. I'm also going to link the video down below that I used to learn to make these crowns if you want a more detailed tutorial. Stay inspired, and I'll see you again next time.